Hello guys, welcome to the new channel. Today I'm doing a video demonstration on how to do this text wiggle effect. We're going to be using Premiere Pro and After Effects. The idea of this tutorial video came from someone on my Discord server who had requested that I teach them how to do this, and then they wanted me to make a video tutorial, and I figured if I'm going to make a YouTube tutorial, I'm going to do it right. And so this is my new account for tutorials, and I'm going to be doing a lot, so let's get right into it. So obviously the first thing is we need to drag some footage into here. I just have a footage of a video I did, a visual effect video of a DeLorean, a little Back to the Future thing. So when you're doing this effect, you can do, you can do a lot with it. There's so many different ways you can do this, where you're going to be using expressions in this video tutorial. So if you wanted to do like the text on the whole video, you just click the whole video. If you just want to do a portion, then you would just use the razor tool. You would nip out that portion that you want to do it on, and then you're good to go. So next, we're going to click on the portion and then go up to Replace with After Effects Composition. And once we click on that, it's going to launch After Effects. Alright, so now we're in After Effects, and this window is going to pop up. You can just put any name here. This is just where the file is, where you're going to save it. So I'm just going to put, just using it as an example, we don't really need to put a name there. And then it's going to give you your comp and everything. So if you notice, it's just that, it's just that portion of video that you nipped. So the next part is to go right click new and then text. Then you can see this little bar pops up. That's your text layer. And then we got to type in our text. So we'll just, you can put anything in there. For the sake of the video, I'll just put example. That's what I put example text, and then we can position it down where like the subtitle would be. And I'm going to make it a bit bigger just so you can really see the effects as they play through. And then we're just going to right click on here. We're going to go to pre-compose. We're going to hit OK. And now it's a comp. Make sure you do everything before it's a comp. And then so you're going to double click on the comp. You're going to go to what's called the workspace. That's what I call it. And this is where we're going to be editing the effect. So what we're going to be using is called the expression. There's 6 essential expressions: the rotation expression, the wiggle expression, the random expression, the time expression, the anchor point expression, and the bounce expression. Now today we're going to be using what's called the wiggle expression. The wiggle expression you can use for a lot of things. It comes in handy so much, depending on what you're doing though. You can do it with pretty much any layer. If you had like a picture of like a TIE fighter and you wanted it to wiggle as it as it flew through the sky or whatever. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually get to the expression, which we do by clicking holding Alt and clicking the time stopwatch, and you get this bar of code. By the way, it's option if you're on Mac, but there's not a lot of Mac users. So here's where we're going to type wiggle and then parentheses. You can click through the bar or type it yourself, whatever you want to do. You can, it's kind of your freedom to do whatever. So when you're doing the wiggle effect, you're going to need 2 numbers separated by comma. So for the subtle effect that I'm going to do is 3 and 4. And you can see that it moves the text around, just barely, just a little. So the higher you do the numbers, the stronger the effect's going to be. So if you had a kid raging on Xbox and you wanted to make that a funny video, you could do that, make it real intense. And so once you have this, once you've done your editing, you can go back to Premiere Pro, and you can see that in real time it did it in the video, and it will be labeled pink, whatever section you do, or green or purple, whichever it chooses depending on what you already have. And then for so make sure you save it before you close After Effects, and I'll demonstrate what happens with that at the end of the video. So I'm gonna just remove this effect, and we're gonna go through the rest of them because they all do some pretty neat things. The anchor point I'll describe is it's just up and down and left and right. So you can imagine like a little cross or a little plus sign on your window, and that's where it's gonna move. So it can only move up and down, left and right, as demonstrated here. And as opposed to position, where position you can move it anywhere you want. It can go any which way, and so that's the difference between the two. And if we do the wiggle effect on there, you will see that it isn't much different from position, but it is different, and it works better for different things. So we'll do a kind of intense one, and you can see that it's pretty intense, but it's only moving up and down and left and right. Even though it looks like it's moving all over, it is only moving up and down and left and right. So we can do like a more subtle effect. You can see how it kind of looks like it's moving in a circle, but I promise it's just moving up and down and left and right. That's the only way it works. It works better with different things. The next one we have is scale. Scale is really how stretched and how big or small it is. So it's pretty neat. The wiggle effect for this kind of makes like a little bounce, you know. So if you see here, we'll type in wiggle, and then we can just put in our numbers. We'll make it pretty strong right off the back, so you can see how it's pretty random, but it's always gonna stay the same. We'll do a less intense version, and you can see that it just kind of squishes and stretches it around, makes it smaller, bigger, a little squish. It's kind of an odd effect for scale, but it does come in handy. You know, combined all of these together. Then we have rotation, which just moves it basically in a circle, really, depending on where your point is. And if we do the wiggle effect on here, we'll do probably a pretty intense one. That way you can see how, you know, it moves around with the wiggle effect, the wiggle expression. You can see that it just makes it dance, make it, you know, kind of like some guys like hitting something. I don't know what you wanna, however you wanna put it. We'll do a more subtle version. You can see that it just kind of rocks it. It's not extremely strong, the less you go, like I said. Now we have opacity. I'm going to put a bit of a position on here so it makes the opacity one look a bit better. So it's a pretty subtle one, just kind of jiggles it a little bit. And then we're going to do the same thing. Opacity is just like how much you can see it, how see-through it is or whatever, how solid it is. The wiggle effect on here is pretty neat. What it does is makes it kind of flicker, as you'll see. If you're doing like a horror film or something, you could have your text flickering, and the position kind of wiggles it a little bit. So you can see it's a very neat effect. One of my favorite ones. I use this one all the time. I have upcoming horror films that I use this effect in, and I just think that's all around probably my favorite one, I would say. So we can make it strong or less, you know, more subtle. I will say though, it's not going from 0 to 100 every flicker. It's just kind of wiggling that bar around. So it's not 0 100 0 100. It's just wiggling, like waving through, you know. It's just a wiggle effect. It just makes the text, you know. You get what I'm saying. It's hard to it's kind of hard to explain, but it's not 0 to 100. It's just flicker. So then if you can see that if we go back to Premiere Pro, that it happens real time. If we watch right there, the reason it's black is just that's the end of the video, so I made it black because I didn't want to do the fire trail and stuff. So the last thing to make sure is you save After Effects, because if you don't, like I'm doing here, it will take that effect away. you see that the effect is not there anymore, always make sure you save or just leave After Effects open while you're saving it or while you're exporting it, because otherwise it just disappears and then freezes all your stuff. It kind of fucks it up, and once it realizes that that effect doesn't exist, it puts this annoying red fucking error message, media offline. And it's really irritating when you have a big video that you did and you accidentally close After Effects and you have to redo everything. So you don't want to be that guy. You can do this, you can chop as many of these up as you want. You can do it to any of these sections. Just make sure you chop it with the razor tool, and then there you go, you have the effect. It's very easy. You can play around with it yourself however you want to do it. It's fully customizable to your liking. So I hope you guys enjoyed. More videos will be coming soon, and if you'd like to join my Discord server, the link is in the description below. You can get live help from me or from other people. You can share tips and tricks. It's a very intricate server. So I hope to see you there, and see you guys in the next one.